The old traditional website was almost like a brochure online. You just design it, looks great, set and forget. But now it's a case of making sure that experience is different as much as you can, customizable to every persona, every buyer that comes to your website.
Welcome to Under the Hood.
Welcome back to another episode of Under the Hood. Here we are, Gabe McCarthy over to this side.
Hello, and Tony Eads over to that side.
That's it. Welcome along. We thought we'd do a bit of flexibility in this episode of Under the Hood. I was thinking, trying to sort of track into my mind here the lotus pose, the downward facing dog, or maybe the cobra pose.
Have I come to the right podcast? What is going on here?
Yes, you'd be wondering if we were under the hood of what kind of hood we were under. But imagine, for example, if your website was as flexible as your yoga instructor.
It's a metaphor.
Yes.
Sorry, I only work in literal context. No, that's very true. So today's episode, we're going to be focusing in on the flexibility and whatnot that you can harness out of your CMS platform. Yeah. But, if you haven't seen the show before, just so you know, the framework is that we have 10 minutes to talk about this subject today on Under the Hood for all you sales and marketing professionals out there. If you're liking the show and haven't done so already, please give us a like and subscribe, obviously, of course. And a big shout out to this place, the Bella Vista Hotel, for hosting
us, yes, in the we call it the bowels of the Bella Vista. We've decided to move on from that, I think. Yeah.
Well, maybe unless they like it.
Let's call it the heart, the beating heart of the Bella Vista in the podcast studio.
Yeah, that seems more appropriate than bowels. It's a bit higher up on the
body.
Yeah.
All right. So why is flexible? Actually, should I start the timer?
Yes, you should start the timer and go on today's topic: how to make your website as flexible and stress-free as your yoga instructor. Take us away. Namaste.
Okay, so why is it important? I mean, why does a website need to be flexible? I've got my WordPress website. It does what it needs to do, but it ain't very flexible.
No, and look, it used to, in the day, be down to how you built your website with a few options that you had, right? There was WordPress and maybe a few others. Now, moving forward these days, it's kind of like the internet and user experience and expectations of the user have moved on, yet WordPress seems to be somewhat stagnant in its evolution, right? So hence why it's good now to look at other options for your CMS option. And I think one of the key things, as I mentioned, and as you're going to get into, is about boosting your user engagement, right? Boosting your engagement, and there's a stat here about this. According to research conducted by HubSpot, as per Tony's shirt there, websites that offer dynamic and customizable content see a 47% increase in page views compared to static websites. Hence why WordPress and other ones like it, static as they are and hard and cumbersome, don't seem to get as much engagement.
No, and I think that's an important one because we live in a world of personalization, right? To really get best engagement, people want to be talking to that. And we've mentioned this before on other episodes, talking to an audience of one, not an audience of many. The old traditional website was almost like a brochure online. You just design it, looks great, set and forget. But now it's a case of making sure that experience is different as much as you can, customizable to every persona, every buyer that comes to your website.
100% agree, and it actually harkens back to our first episode of the year. If you want to go back and watch that, why you don't need a website in 2023. What does that mean? Go check the episode to find out. But it actually speaks to a lot of things we've got here. The other key thing to note is improving conversion rates and enhancing SEO performance. Conversion rates, obviously, being that you, with a flexible website, potentially, as a lot of stats show, could have as high as a 36% increase in conversions for your website if it were a flexible CMS.
Yeah, and I think a flexible CMS framework also achieves something like 60-odd% increase in organic search. They found that because obviously you're increasing the engagement. So I suppose in terms of the search engines, they're trying to point more people towards a website that actually is customized and more user-friendly than one that's not.
Yeah, and speaks to them, like you said before, about personalization being one of the key factors in what differentiates a website these days. Speaking to you as the individual and your customers as the individual rather than a capture or a wide net, right? So now if you have a CMS that's flexible and also built upon a CRM, like HubSpot, it can pull out data from that person who is landed on that page and make it specific to them, their location, the kind of persona they are, what their interests are in previously when they came to the website before, all those kind of cool aspects you can employ.
What about the mobile device? Mobile is such a big thing. We hear about it all the time. How can that affect it? Static website versus a flexible website?
Well, Statista reports state that mobile devices accounted for 54% of global website traffic in 2021 and 2022.
So it's growing, isn't it? Didn't used to be that high. It seems to be growing all the time. People are on these mobiles out and about.
The more mobiles can do, which as we note with all the new mobile devices that come out these days, the more they can do, the more capabilities they have for website interactions. You know, I think a lot of people now on the go, on the move, are looking for answers and are busier than ever and streamlining their day. You have to make sure you're catering for those people with your website. So if it condenses down your screen to a version of your website made for a smaller screen, then you need to make sure that the interaction, the activity that someone can, call upon and action upon on those web pages is suited for that device.
Yeah. And I think when you're looking at your website, I think sometimes you forget that. You look at the old landscape format of a traditional kind of website. You don't look at the portrait landscape of what people are looking for on a mobile. So a quick test is go to your URL on your mobile device and just see if the experience is as good as it is on the desktop. And sometimes you might be pretty frightened by what you see, especially if it's not a flexible website.
If you have to pinch and squeeze, that is usually my
yourself
indicator. No, well, the screen, maybe yourself to give yourself a wake-up call. But if you pinch and squeeze on the screen and you have to do that to view the website in any sense, then that is usually a huge red flag.
Bad user experience.
Exactly.
What about enhanced customer insights? Obviously, you want to see who's on the website. You want to see who's clicking, who's doing stuff, who's viewing. How do you find that out?
Connect it to your CRM, as we said before. Empower it with your CRM, connect them, and make sure they're speaking to each other. And HubSpot does that natively, as do some other CRMs. But HubSpot has the great use case of building your actual website off the Hub CMS, which is built into HubSpot, which is at its core a CRM.
Yeah, and that's so important. We talk about the holy grail being that 360-degree view of the customer, and your website is the core of that, right? People are coming to your website, whether they're a prospect or an existing customer. You need to know the difference between the two because the communication and the content should be different. You talk differently you would to a prospect as you would talk to a customer, and your website should do the same.
Agreed. And look, the final points I think we should add to this is that it's about user experience, but also not from your customers and potential leads that are landing on your website, but also the people who manage your website internally, making it so much more user-friendly and people who can train up to make edits to your website and customize it and whatnot. So you don't have to go to a developer and fiddle with code every time and, come back to it sometime and notice that it's broken for some reason. You have to figure out with a community and talk to people and go on chat forums and call up, Greg from down in IT and ask what's going on. If you had a system like HubSpot where it's a CMS that is nice and flawless and easy to manage from a team perspective, then it saves you so many costs in the long run.
Yeah,
so many maintenance, ongoing costs, and security risks too.
Yeah, and cost to business, like you just said. I mean, by having a website that's kind of dynamic, you need to change it quickly. Like you've got a new product coming out, you want to add a new page. You just can't afford in this modern day and age to be waiting, 48 hours or a week for your developer to get to it, and then come back with the results where any one of your team can be trained up in a user-friendly way to actually change the website internally.
And longevity is probably one of the key things to note there. We've built websites for some of our customers where it was like 5 or 6 years ago and they're still using the same website built upon Hub CMS. Why? It's because it's so flexible and can be updated on the fly. They don't need to call us every time to do something.
So, look, I would love to see this in action, Gabe. So, can we actually dive into it? I mean, I think people are visualizing how flexible this could be, but let's put our yoga instructor pants on and show them how it works.
Well, you are in luck, Tony.
Oh, am I? Oh, good.
I so have the Hub, a example CMS of one of our clients. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see what's coming up on the screen now in terms of our internal CMS Hub here. We're looking for one of our clients. If you're listening on podcast, I'm sorry. Just listen in and maybe you'll get what's going on in terms of the visuals. But jump onto YouTube and watch the video afterwards if you're not seen this, but I want to jump in now to, this is one of our clients, one of our favorite long-term clients, iAsset. We developed their website through a whole process of developing out their brand strategy, working out what the best optimal user experience would be, and refresh the whole website. And we haven't touched this really as it is now for a good 3 or 4 years now, I think. Maybe we've added in a few pages, but ultimately it's still the same framework. Now, there's a few key things I want to get into.
And you've got 2 minutes.
I've got 2 minutes to get into. 3 key things I want to get into in a few minutes. I'll
Time
be able to
starts
do
now.
it. So you got the side panel here. This is Hub CMS, right? I want to express how easy it is to basically go here on the side panel and look at all your modules that you have available to you, right? These are all the common ones HubSpot gives you out of the box. These are all the ones, like these ones are the little tools here. Those are those custom ones we designed for them. And it's just as easy like to go to any part of your website, pick, I want the featured blog ones, and then drag and drop, and it drags it right into your section there. Right. The other is around content. So you could obviously check which modules are already on the page or add in a new one straight from here. So you can do it there as well if you don't want to use a drag and drop function.
So these are modules across the whole website, are they?
Correct.
So you can just drag and drop from any page that you want to go to.
And exactly. And to that point there, you can go to the site navigator section here, see all the website landing pages, blog pages, and pick exactly, like I'm on the homepage right now that I'm editing, but I can go straight from here to the About Us page, right? And use the exact same modules on this page. They're all available in the same place as I showed you before. Now, finally, the coolest thing that's just been added in recently, right? If I go into one of these modules, which is these little highlighted sections right here, like I can go into it, I can update the content, I can rearrange these logos as they're listed, I can remove or add them quite easily. But the other cool thing is now Content Assist, which is part of the now AI that's been introduced into HubSpot. So if I go into like where there's a lot of content here, maybe I want to like condense this mission bit down, right? Or give it a different spin. I can highlight the content, and it comes up with a little Thunderbolt thing there, which is indicating the AI, and it can ask it to rewrite, expand, summarize, or change the tone of it as I want, So maybe I'll go, all right, rewrite it, please. And I'll rewrite, generate the content here. Oh, cool, an option straight away. If I'm happy with that, great. No, I'm not. I want to regenerate it. That's better. Insert that there, inserts it, done. Although maybe I want to make it a little bit more witty. So maybe I'll make it a little more witty. Yeah, a little bit more witty.
Add a bit of comedy.
Nice.
Is it? So this is using Content Assist, is it? The new AI feature built into HubSpot?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
this
wonderful.
This is all out of the box too. So anyone on any level of HubSpot CMS, you can get this functionality with the AI Content Assist, which is another huge selling point for it. That flexibility of just having this all done for you out of the box. So
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, hit the timer there. Perfect.
Yes, you finished just in time. You had 2 minutes and you did it. So if you want to find more, we only just touched on this, but as you can see there, flexibility is king in websites today. And how good is that? Rather than you actually having to go back to your developer, trying to explain what you're trying to get across, wait while they do the changes, come back, they're not quite right, change them again. You can have somebody actually internally doing those on the fly. So your website becomes dynamic.
Yep. And as you can see, I was doing it. This was actually me physically doing that at the time, live, right?
Yeah.
And it's just as easy as that. Obviously, I'm an expert in it and I know the layout really well. But after 1 or 2 training sessions for whoever is going to be, championing the back end of the website, they can learn to do that and run with it.
Oh, that's good. I just had a text from iAsset that said, can you put the website back to what it was now that you've fiddled with it?
Sorry. Are you still our client? Okay.
All right. Well, I think that was fantastic. Flexibility is the king. Let's get up from our mats and our downward dog and get into
The TOOLKIT.
But Tony, Toolkit, what's your little special one? I think it's a HubSpot themed
HubSpot
toolkit.
theme. We thought because we were doing HubSpot flexibility that we get flexible with the toolkit this time round. So I had a little look. This is a brand new public beta at the moment, so it's out and about. Coaching playlists. So this is an interesting one, certainly for pro and enterprise clients on HubSpot using the Sales CRM. You now have coaching playlists. So you know how you can record the sales calls that you're making, so your team can record them, but now they can be put into playlists, which makes it so much better to organize your pre-recorded calls and transcripts into folders to help coach your sales and service teams.
Wow, that's really handy. And you can probably still, as it shows, pick out key terms and whatnot through those sales calls.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Again, that AI part I think is coming in there again. So, yeah, certainly it's great because the whole point of it is, you want to be creating that consistency in brand. And if you've got some really ace salespeople or service people, you can create these kind of pre-recorded templates, if you like, and put them into a playlist for others to use pretty easily.
Yeah,
so I like that one.
It's great. I like it too, and I've used it a little bit, and I can see like when you're on like the customer record, when you're pulling it up and talking to someone on the phone, you can have it there on the side. It's very it's not invasive at all. You can just have it right there. It's really on the side. You can just refer to it just for notes. So like to your point, if you're knowing that there's certain key terms and stuff that salespeople are using that as working for your sales process, you can just refer to it and pull it straight from there rather than fumbling about trying to find out the best way to talk to this person.
Awesome. So what have you been playing around with in your HubSpot toolkit?
In my little HubSpot toolkit, which is funny that it's
the
another...
big sprocket on the side of your toolkit, because I knew it was a HubSpot one with a sprocket on the side of it this time.
That little sprocket that it gives a dead giveaway.
And everything was painted orange. So what did you find?
I'm just a big fan of orange, but it's funny. I found another sales tool, which I think is a nice balance because we've just done a whole bunch of website stuff, which is mainly more the marketing end of HubSpot, but now we're looking at more the sales end. So we're trying to speak to both you sales and marketers out there with these tools. So this other tool I've looked at is called prospecting. All right, prospecting, it's in beta currently as a separate tool to HubSpot. It sits underneath all your sales tools. You can add it in now for free if you are on sales, I think, starter and above. So just jump into the HubSpot ecosystem and you should be able to add it to your current list of tools. But basically what prospecting is, it helps you keep an eye on all your activity from a sales point of view. So you can see it all in one location. Any tasks that are overdue, any calls, any emails and whatnot that you need to make or have been made, you can have them all listed there nicely, and it can give you, today you have to do X, Y, Z. All right, cool. I know it's all in one place. And then it attaches them all to your deals. So if you've got deals running with prospects and you know, as part of your system of, workflow within your sales process, you have to follow up people after X amount of days or time, it'll list them there on the day that you're supposed to do it. So you can just jump in there and see it all in one location, which is really cool. The other thing you can do too is then start employing some of the more advanced sales tools. Like when you're prospecting, you can sometimes enroll someone in a sequence. You can literally do it all off this one location now. So you can just roll it in to a sales sequence. Like if you're, say, in the middle of trying to close a deal, maybe there's a few little added value aspects you can send towards that prospect and roll them in that sequence right off that prospecting panel. And then, you can follow the whole activity of when they open it, when they don't. And then I think the final cool thing to add to that activity point is then the responsive field that is on the top tab of this prospecting tool. You can then look at the actual activity of people opening their emails, if they have or not, based upon when you sent them, and then look at the schedule as well for when you've got upcoming meetings and whatnot, and if people have accepted them or not, all from that one location. So that's really cool. It kind of eliminates the need to go to your emails, check your phone, go to your calendar. It's all in the one nice little condensed place. And then finally, the AI, of course.
Oh, the AI. It's got to be in there somewhere.
Yep, that overlays the whole thing. AI suggested actions happen at the bottom of your prospecting tool. So at the bottom, it will say, hey, Doug from X company you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe you should follow them up. I didn't tell HubSpot to do that. The AI told me, which is really cool, right? So, yeah.
So I think that's amazing. So really I can see the salesperson of the future is just sitting back, pressing the button, and just relaxing.
Aren't they already doing that?
Well, if they're on HubSpot, they are, I think. Otherwise, you're frantically trying to type everything in every time you have a meeting. Anyway, that was good.
That was good,
So a couple of betas there for people to get involved in, public betas. So get into that one, prospecting, and of course, getting into the coaching playlists. Now, I've got a bit of an issue. I can see next episode, question mark, question mark, question mark.
What could that all be about? Well, actually, it is intentional.
Okay.
Tony and I had planned, we're just really good actors. We had thought, well, you know what? We often just at the end of each episode tell you what the next episode title will be,
Yeah.
but we wanted to hand it over to you guys. Like, actually stop being dictators for a second and say, you know what, you guys decide. Let us know what you would like to hear about. You don't have to tell us what the next episode topic exactly will be, but
What you'd like to hear.
what would you like to hear? Exactly.
It's what we like to call Ask the Audience.
Exactly.
And we're asking you, the audience of our podcast. You tell us what you'd like to cover over the next episode or future episodes. We'd love to know what topic you'd like us to dig into under the hood.
Yeah, and we'll pick out our favorites and all the most talked about.
Or we'll
and then-
ignore them all and just choose our own.
Exactly. So really, it's in the framework of a democracy, but really it's still kind of a dictatorship. So I'm sorry. But no, look, do comment below of this video or on the podcast SoundCloud link underneath. Leave your comments and or on LinkedIn. Tell us what you'd like to hear about, and then we'll see if we can accommodate the next episode to meet that. But
Yeah.
that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us.
Time's up.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been good having you here. My name's been Gabe. This is Tony from Salted Stone here at Under the Hood at the very beautiful heart of the Bella Vista Hotel.
Good on you, Bella.
Thank you for having us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
I've just got some more sales things to do.